Hello, so as you can see, my presentation is what the heck is brucellosis, and I'm going to expand on that. First, I am David Ballard. I've been a student here at Mount Sac, and so let's get into it. Oh, all right, here we go. Oh, no, hold on. All right, so this is brucellosis. So that way you guys can check out a microscopic pic of it. You can get brucellosis in two ways. You can contract it either through direct contact with an infected animal or airborne. And so, how do animals get infected? Obviously, this picture is showing direct contact. That is when you're exposed to another infected animal. The second possible way is from the environment. Wherever an animal has left bodily fluids, another animal can come by and now become infected by that. And so, how do humans get infected? One example would be a slaughterhouse. Another would be the labs. Any type of lab work involving Brucellosis is possible exposure. Farms and hunting environments. And so as you can tell, that man holding that duck down there in the picture to the right, he could possibly be contracting as well as his dog. But you can get it by inhaling the contaminated air or touching contaminated blood or bodily fluids. And then you see that picture of that little girl down there drinking milk. If that was raw milk, that is another way that brucellosis could be contracted. So it's important to have pasteurized dairy products. Sorry, my PowerPoint's a little slow. Here we go. And so now what species is affected by this? As you can see, we have cows, goats, sheep, pigs, dogs, cute dogs. But all of those are able to get infected by brucellosis. Others are not. And so what symptoms would you see if exposed to brucellosis? As you can tell by the picture, you can get fever, chills, a loss of appetite, sweats, weakness, fatigue, joint, muscle, and back pain, and headaches. And then this is just a picture showing the transmission cycle of how you would be able to get brucellosis. It's just kind of something I saw online, and I thought that it was a good example to show. And so now to go into detail more about direct contact, animals with wounds either in their skin or their mucous membranes. So as you can see here, this animal has a wound in his gums, and that's a place that could get spread to. The second would be eating or drinking raw dairy products. So anything that's been used as a raw dairy product in another food item, that can possibly spread brucellosis. And also meat. Any kind of infected meat would be a possible way to obtain brucellosis. But it's important to make sure that your dairy products, whether it be milk, cheese, ice cream, everything has gone through pasteurization. So like this kid doesn't know that if that was raw milk that it could contain brucellosis. So it's very important to not consume raw products like that. Number 3 here we have laboratories or meat packing plants or slaughterhouses. These workers have a high risk of exposure to brucellosis. If you're working in a lab and you're working with that bacteria, there's obviously possibilities of obtaining that. Same thing for the slaughterhouse. It's important to have preventative measures. You should be wearing the appropriate safety equipment. And same for that last guy in that picture. He has no safety equipment on and is touching meat. So, I mean, good luck for that guy. I don't know. But these are all high-risk environments to be infected with brucellosis, sorry. And so I work in the veterinary field, and so again, I am at risk of being in contact with an animal that has been exposed to brucellosis. And so this picture is saying, this lady's checking out my mouth, but I can't communicate with her that I'm infected with brucellosis. So it's important to be aware. And the last one would be hunters out in the field. Animals that can obtain brucellosis are bison, elk, caribou, moose, and wild hogs. So all of those have the potential to have brucellosis. So people that go out and hunt and take pictures with their prize trophies, you have to be careful with what you're touching. Also, if you eat that meat and it is not properly cooked, such as it being undercooked, it's possible to get brucellosis by ingesting that. And again, if you touch any blood or bodily fluids, which is possible in this hobby, so you have to be careful. And on to prevention and treatment methods. First off, we have prevention. Again, like I said, don't eat undercooked meat or unpasteurized dairy products such as milk, cheese, ice cream. Stay away from those. That would be my recommendation. And then for people at the workplaces, it's important to wear rubber gloves, goggles, gowns, and aprons, appropriate attire. And then sanitization methods are also a huge factor. It's important to maintain closed herds so that animals aren't exposed to other animals who could possibly have brucellosis, and to have tightened biosecurity measures where you work. It's important to have all of your animals vaccinated, so that way it's another prevention method against brucellosis. So is brucellosis zoonotic? Yeah. As you've seen in the pictures and all my warnings, being careful of what you touch and what you ingest, definitely. And so where does brucellosis typically happen? Well, first of all, we have 4 types of brucellosis, and some of them have specific areas where you can find them. And the first one would be Brucella melitensis, and that would be typically in sheep and goats. You can find it in Spain, Greece, Latin America, Middle East, and India. The second type is Brucella sui, the most common kind of bacteria in wild pigs, and that is found here in the US. You can find it the southeast part of the country as well as California. And so if you are into hunting wild pigs in California, I recommend you to be careful. And it is also found in Europe, South America, and Southeast Asia. And then there's just pictures of them. And then the third type would be Brucella canis. That is commonly spread through dogs. You can find that in North, Central, and South America, as well as Japan and Central Europe. And so again, we can get this from dogs because it is zoonotic. And the last type of brucellosis would be Brucella abortus. So that was an infection that happened worldwide, and it was a serious impact on cattle. And so places that depended on cattle were severely affected by it. But now it's been wiped out. We don't see that anymore. But it was found in European countries, Japan, Israel, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. And that is all for my presentation. Here are my sources. And thank you for listening. Thank you.